Hey there everybody, Mark Crilly. I'm back with another How to Draw video. And today I'm going to be focusing on how to draw a hand holding a sword. I've had a lot of people asking for videos about weapons and different stuff like that. And I thought one of the hardest things to draw convincingly is a hand gripping the handle of a sword and getting it right. A lot of times when you try to draw this, you end up with something sort of like this, if you're just drawing from memory, and somehow the fingers just don't look quite right. And so I've tried to come up with a method here of drawing a sort of foolproof method of getting a hand holding the handle of a sword and having it look good. Let's start by just indicating a couple of lines. Now I'm using a red pencil here for my rough lines. This sort of symbolizes lines that I would later erase, but I want it to show up in the video, so I'm trying to do this with red lines, and then they'll be separate from the actual final lines that I do later on. This is going to be the actual handle of the sword, so let me go ahead and indicate this. Again, the video is not so much about how to draw a sword, it's more about getting the fingers closed around the handle of the sword properly. So I'm going to go ahead and just sort of quickly indicate the sword itself. Then we can move on to doing some guidelines for the fingers, which is really going to be the trickiest part and the focus of this whole video. But anyway, you get the idea. This is sort of my rough indication of a sword. So where does the hand go so that it really looks like it's going to be closing around this sword? Let me show you my approach. First of all, let's get a line, a sort of a curved line here that's showing where the upper knuckles are going to go. Again, this is just sort of a guideline that would later be erased. And then kind of actually coming down a little bit diagonally is another curved line. We're kind of creating a rectangle box kind of a shape here that's going to be eventually going to be the entire hand. Make another line over here. And then coming again at a little bit of an angle, closing off the bottom of this box that we've created, this sort of lopsided box that we've created, is a line down here. This is the basis of the hand itself. Okay? Now let's start with something easy, and that is to create a triangle shape here off this one corner. This is going to be the lower part of the thumb. And if you make another very small triangle over here, this is going to be the other part of this hand. And coming down off of both of those lines is the wrist. Okay? A lot of people watch my videos and say, it looks so terrible at first, and then by the end of it, it actually looks good. Hopefully, I will continue that tradition with this video. Let's take this upper line here and divide it in half. And starting at this middle line, I'm going to make a light guideline that goes just a little bit diagonally off to one side. Then I'm going to divide that line in half and make a line that comes a little more straight down. Then dividing this one in half, again keeping this diagonal fanning process going over here. And then finally another line that's a little bit smaller because this is going to be the pinky. And the pinky, as we all know, is smaller than the rest of the fingers. So there we go for those guidelines there. One last guideline before I can move on to final lines, and that is the thumb. This is a little tricky to come up with any foolproof method on, but look at this handle here, and if you get the middle part there, and make a little dot there, and then maybe a point down here that's not the middle, but just maybe 1/4 of the way down this line. That gives you the basis of two lines that can come off as if they're pointing towards this dot. I know, not the most exciting stuff, but this is just, I'm trying to come up with some method of making this systematic, as you try to draw these things. Okay, enough of the guidelines. Let's get on to the final lines, because this will be the fun part. First thing to do is to take these lines and use them to indicate the knuckles. And what I do is create sort of V shapes right along here. I'm going to create 3 V shapes. And then you link up these three V shapes with lines coming across. This one is sort of tapering off down like that for the pinky. Not really a V shape. And then this one comes across here also off to one side. Now we can make a middle line. Just go ahead and follow this line all the way down to the basis of the handle there. And this line does the same thing, all the way down. And then this is going to be the thumb line. I'm going to go ahead and put that in as well. These two fingers almost cover the bottom line of the sword handle. I studied my own hand to figure out how to do this. I actually held like a kitchen knife or something. And then the pinky here is coming quite a bit higher than these other fingers. You can follow that first guideline for a good part of the way, but then when you get up here, you're going to come to a sort of a knuckle area. I'm just going to indicate that lightly. And so this line breaks off a little bit and comes, sort of branches off to create the pinky line. Speaking of knuckles, we can go ahead and indicate between these two lines, sort of halfway between, a sort of knuckle area. Now that's going to get covered up by the thumb right now. Let me go ahead and put the thumb in. I don't know if I have any big magical secrets for how to do the thumb. It's sort of trial and error. It has a bit of a curve to it. It's not going to reach all the way up to this knuckle. It's going to stop just above that line there, and it's sort of a gentle curve to create the shape of the thumb. Now happily we can really just follow our guidelines down here. Watch how I'm just sticking exactly with the guidelines that we had before. With the exception of this one over here, I think it really kind of comes a little more like that. I don't know exactly how to describe that, but that lower part of the hand is maybe not exactly as we had it in the guideline. Now we're getting closer to a real hand. Let's go ahead and put this line in here, the other finger. The way I was doing this when I was studying my hand is you could see just a little bit of the other side of this finger back here. And then a knuckle area that comes right around the line of the upper part of the sword for this one. I'm going to go ahead and do the lines of the sword handle itself, sort of get that in there. And I may save that. I may do a little time lapse for the sword at the end. This is really not a video about how to draw a sword. It really is supposed to be more about the hand. And a lot of people are always asking, what about the fingernails? What about the fingernails? And it is true, you want to get some indication of the fingernails. I try not to go overboard. I just sort of hint at them. So just putting in a few lines here for the pinky and the other fingers. Just sort of suggest that there are fingernails without going too crazy about drawing the details. This thumb is sort of a little tilted away from us, so the fingernail, you're seeing one edge of the fingernail, I think, more than the entire thing. Down here at the base of the wrist is sort of a wrinkle where the flesh bunches up a bit, and I noticed as I was gripping this knife handle or whatever that I looked at, that the tendons of the wrist were bulging out quite a bit, and you got about like 2 of them in here, a few lines in here. And you get a whole bunch of wrinkles that start to form in different areas where the flesh is sort of bunching up. You get at least one good line in here to indicate the middle of the palm. And then the key to really finishing this off, because let's face it, it doesn't look so great right now, the real key is to get the shading in. So watch how this really helps to finish off the effect of a 3-dimensional hand, just by adding a little bit of light shading here beneath the knuckles on all of these fingers. On the thumb it's a little trickier. You get some shading around the edge of this one. Of course, every every lighting situation creates different types of shadows, but this one worked for me, or this is the way the light was working as I studied my own hand in this situation. And a little bit of shading here around the basis, or around the handle, below the handle of the sword. Helps to make that look a little more 3D. Get some shading in here along this side of the wrist. And we're getting closer to a kind of a finished product here. And just remember what we said about, you know, trying to draw a hand from memory and how we imagine all the fingers just sort of all closing together. Well, that's not what happens. And study carefully, and you see that they close around in different places, and that the pinky ends up much higher. And these little details really help to separate out a hand where you just sort of were winging it and trying your best to draw it the way you remember it, versus a hand that really looks like it was studied from real life. Let me go ahead. I'm going to do some time lapse to do the handle of the sword, and I'll be back with some finishing remarks. Alright, well, there you have it. I've pretty much done everything I wanted to do with this video. I know it was a very specific task that I covered today. I'm sure not everybody wants to know how to draw a hand holding a sword, but in a way, I just wanted to focus on it for my own good, to teach myself a method of drawing this from memory. I know the next time that I have to draw a hand holding a sword, I will have a better concept of how to do it now that I've worked out this little system. Thanks so much, my friends, for watching my videos and for your suggestions for the kind of videos you'd like to see me do. Keep on leaving those comments and telling me what you want to see. I definitely want to do the kinds of videos that you guys want me to do, so keep that up. And thanks so much for subscribing. It's just amazing the kind of support that I've had as I come up on the end of my second year on YouTube. Just amazing, really, the kind of encouragement I've been getting from everybody. Well, that's about all the time we have for today. Sorry it took me a while to get to doing this video. I had some work on my table, but that is gone now, and so I will definitely be improving the pace of video production in the weeks ahead. So that's it for today. Thanks for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will be back with another one real soon.